Hey guys, here I am with Kathy Cattell from PRD Hunter Valley. Now, Kathy, you are a rural expert. How did you get to be that?
Ever since I was a kid, my mum insists that my first words were Gigi.
Yeah, right.
Weren't mum or dad or whatever, they were Gigi. And I've just always loved animals, loved horses in particular, and always wanted to be on a rural property.
So now you sell them?
Now I sell them, yeah.
And how's the market up here?
Market is sensational. I've got loads of buyers. I literally can't get enough properties to sell.
Right.
And it's been, from a rural property perspective, it's been the quietest period ever for market appraisals and people asking me to sell. Being that we've got buyers screaming, saying to me, there's so few properties coming on the market. So the properties that are coming on the market are achieving a more premium price than expected because there's just so few around. Well, so supply is not keeping up with demand.
So there's a lot of people making the change, moving from, say, the Central Coast, Newcastle, to live up here on a rural property. But obviously there'd be people who have lived in a rural property their whole life and would happy to live near the beach. So they could be sellers for you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. No, the sellers that frequently come to me, personal circumstances have changed. They're totally moving out of the area, downsizing. I've got one property on the market right now that they've lived there all their lives and it's now been totally rezoned for subdivision.
Right.
And it's going to turn into residential development. And then you've got the others where they're moving out of the area. They've lived on the acreage all their lives and they've just decided it's time for it to see change and yeah, they're going over near the beach.
So there's a lot of moving parts in a rural property. What are some of the things we have to consider if we are going to sell?
Look, the big thing to consider first of all is to get an agent out and have a discussion with them to see what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. A lot of people, particularly when they own a property, they have a lot of emotional value and a lot of previous history with the property. And so they get very picky about their own property and frequently they'll go and do things before they get me out. And I'll look and go, yeah, that's great, but that wasn't really the important thing.
For the buyers.
For the buyers. I'm seeing the most important ingredient to attract buyers is that.
Yep.
And so it's things like that. You know, first of all, get an agent out, get me out, and I'm really happy to just have a chat and sit down and talk about what they want to do, their timeline, because there's heaps of things. Some people don't come to me until they literally want to move within a month.
Right.
But we can do delayed settlements. 99% of buyers who come up here have to sell.
Yep. They
have to go and sell in Newcastle, sell in Central Coast, sell in Sydney. That's where most of the buyers are coming from. And so, you know, a delayed settlement is frequently requested so that they can do this rotational thing and plan it all.
Yeah, a great idea, because obviously big properties have a lot of things that need to be changed and moved to sell it to go.
Yeah, that's right. And so it all works on a twofold, you know, an each way basis.
That's really good advice. But what about, I'm a buyer now, I want to buy a farm. That's a big deal. How do I do that?
When you're buying a rural property, there is no such thing as the perfect property. Please, please remember that. Rural properties, if you make a list of 10 items and you tick 5 out of those 10, and you can change the other 5, that's, you know, that's how it works with rural. It's a good starting point. You can't change land size, you can't change location. You can, however, change the house. You can build it, you can extend it, you can renovate it.
Kathy, absolutely great advice. I'm so glad we had a chat to you today. You really are the expert in rural property. Thanks for joining us, Kathy.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps this week's show. Check out our website if you'd like to join the team or to catch up on an episode, head to 9Now. See you next week for another episode of Location Lifestyle Living.